Okay, kids, have a seat. Today's video is going to be about college. When I went to college, I made some very good decisions and I made some equally very, very bad decisions as well. But every decision taught me a valuable lesson. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you about these lessons. And I'm hoping that if you listen carefully, you'll take away something from this video and hopefully you'll bypass some of the mistakes that I made when I went to college. So, get comfortable, have a seat, and listen up. Let's get started. So the first thing you'll have to do when you go to college is pick your subjects. When I went to college and it was time to pick subjects, I didn't put much thought into it at all. I looked at what other people were doing, what seemed to be popular at the time. And secondly, I looked at what my friends were doing. My thought process was that if they're doing it and I'm doing it, the likelihood we'll be in the same class and we'll have a good time. And that is all I thought about. And it was a very, very bad mistake. Following the crowd or being a sheep is never going to get you anywhere. So if I could do it again, here's what I'd do. Number 1, write a list of the subjects I enjoy in school already. Number 2, write a list of strengths. What am I already good at? And lastly, do some research as to what skills or knowledge is going to be needed in 5 or 10 years' time. Where is the world going? And then when you have these 3 pieces of information, find something that aligns with all of them. What you should not do is focus on what your friends are doing or anyone else, or what seems popular at the time. The likelihood is that when you finish college, many of the people around you will not know. And only a handful of friends will remain once you finish university as well. So making a decision based on that is foolish and you will regret it. So the lesson I want you to take away from this is that if a decision is going to take years of your life, like your A-levels will take at least 2 years, and then maybe in university you may spend even more years pursuing a degree based on this, then you owe it to yourself to spend a sufficient amount of time to research to ensure that you've done everything that you could to make sure that decision was right. And more importantly, don't let the crowd steer your ship. You are the one who has to live with the consequences. Okay, so you've picked your subjects and now it's time for you to start college. The first thing inevitably what will happen is you'll make some friends. There may be people from your previous school that you'll know, but inevitably there will be new people that you will come across that you'll befriend. And this is going to be a very, very crucial time for you. When I started college, I was very, very lucky. I came across a group of friends that were very grounded and they were very, very good influences to me and they taught me a lot. So we had very similar backgrounds, so very strict households, religious upbringing, and there were certain things that we would never even go near. Examples are drugs or alcohol, for example. And there were things that we would always do regularly and consistently is prayer salah. And there were other few things dotted here and there, but generally this group made me a better Muslim. But what this group made me realize was that you could be a good Muslim but also have a good time. And college was the best time of my life. Thinking back at it, it was literally the golden years. We filmed pranks, made fun out of each other constantly. We were quite popular in college as well, so people knew us, and that obviously made us feel a bit better. But it also made me realize that you don't need to do drugs or alcohol and have a good time, and there will be people that you'll come across that will not be able to separate the two. So remember that it's possible for you to be a good Muslim and have a good time. But more importantly, it's so important for you to make sure you find the right type of friends, especially in the first few weeks of college. Now, here lies the problem as well, is that we had such a good time. We were so busy having fun that we forgot the real reason why we came to college. So don't forget your purpose. Why have you come to college in the first place? It's to get a qualification. So make sure when you finish college, your grade that you get is something that is noteworthy, that is something that you're proud of. Don't forget to study while you're having such a good time at college as well, because your real purpose is to study. And it reminds me of the story of the man that is left in the cave of gold for a short while, and he's told that whatever you dig or take out of this cave is yours. All the wealth and riches of the cave is going to be yours, whatever it is. You've got 24 hours. But what he says is, yeah, I'll dig later. I'm a bit tired right now, let me have a nap. Or I'm a bit hungry, let me eat. And he ends up getting distracted, and before you know it, his 24 hours is up. It's time for him to leave the cave, and he has nothing to show for it. So don't be like the man in the cave. Make sure that you have something to show for it. So lessons from this section is, number one, your friends will shape your future. And I've mentioned this before. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Number two, make sure you are attracting the right type of friend. People that have similar values and beliefs as you. Number three, you don't need substances to have a good time. Real fun comes from the people around you and the relationships that you build. And number four, and most importantly, don't forget why you are going to college. Point number three, wasting my time. So I touched upon this in the previous point, but we wasted a lot of time in college doing fun things and having a good time, but we wasted a lot of our time. We didn't use our time wisely. And that led to most of us getting grades that weren't what we could have achieved, below our potential. And some of us failed completely. And the question that I ask myself sometimes is, was it worth it? It's okay to have a good time, but remember your purpose. There's a quote from Alex Hormozy, okay, and I'll amend it a little bit so it applies more to college, but he says that there's no perfect way to live your teenage years. You either live them up, have a good time, and become an underskilled 30-year-old, or you work them up, you work hard, you study, and become an underlived 30-year-old. You just have to figure out which you'd rather be, accept the trade-off, and know that there are no do-overs. So think really hard about which side of the pendulum that you'd like to be in. Someone that had a lot of fun but didn't really come out with the best of grades, or someone that worked really hard but didn't have as much of a good time in college. Now, looking back at it now, at my age, the advice I would give you is that it's better for you to have worked hard in college, because it's much, much harder for you to graft and grind as you get older, especially when you start taking on more responsibilities, when you get married and have kids. It's so much more difficult to work hard, because then you're going to sacrifice time with your family. Whereas in college, you've got time. And you'd rather relax as you get older, so you can spend good quality time with people that have been around you for a long time or that matter, rather than people that maybe most of them you won't know after a year or two. That's my personal opinion, but for you, when you make your own decision when it comes to how you'd like to spend your college years, remember this is the trade-off you're going to make. And make sure you are consciously making this trade-off and you accept the consequences, whatever they may be, when you get older. The fourth point I wanted to make was, in college I wasted a lot of money. We used to get paid something called EMA, and this was money we'd get for attending college, and we used to get £30 every single week. We wasted that money. We spent it on food, clothes, transport. 90% of the time it was wasted on things that we didn't even need. And a small percentage of the time was because we didn't attend classes. And they weren't for genuine reasons, we just wanted to chill. And just because we missed one lesson, we didn't get that payment. And it made me think how much money I wasted in college, and this is a mistake I don't want you to make as well. Make sure you are investing wisely And even if it seemed like a small amount, it can lead to something substantial over time. Let me give you an example. I did the calculations and I would have made about £2,000, give or take, £30 a week. And from that 30, if I only took £20 out every week and invested it in a single stock, over the 2 years, I would have put in about £2,000. After those 2 years, if I didn't put in a single penny and only put money back in from the dividends I received every quarter, this is how much I would have today based on the following three stocks. Number one, Amazon. If I put £2,000 in Amazon, today it would be worth £28,000. If I did the same in Apple, it would be worth £43,000. Remember, £2,000 only invested. If I put this money into Tesla today, it would have been worth £1.1 million. Just £2,000. And remember, I'm not putting all of my EMA allowance, only £20 out of the 30. There was still money that I could have spent on other things in that week if I needed to. Let that sink in. We had an opportunity handed to us and we threw it away. There was an experiment done in America, and a researcher went up to people and asked them, would you rather have a penny that was doubled every day for 30 days or $2 million check straight up? And most of them chose the $2 million. Have a look at this photo. This is a photo that shows you the power of compounding interest when you double things again and again. So this is a penny doubled every day for 30 days. And look at that final figure. What does it come up to? $5.3 million. That's just one penny doubled every day for 30 days. And this is the power of compounding interest. The key takeaway I want you to take from this is that start investing early. And even if it's small, over time, over a long period of time, it will amount to a substantial amount. But most importantly, don't waste your time or money on things that won't matter in 5 years' time. Invest in your future. Even if it seems small today, it will be big tomorrow. Okay, the last and most important lesson. College is going to be a tough time. There's going to be so many things that I've not even covered yet. But what I want you to remember is that no one is perfect. You are going to make mistakes. And that might be mistakes when it comes to studying. That might be mistakes when it comes to your social circle. That doesn't mean I'm not going to tell you off when I hear about these mistakes. But it means that it happens to everyone. So even for me, especially towards the end of college, I made some really bad choices, things that I'm not proud of. And I'm not going to go into detail because there's no benefit to it. But the reality is that these mistakes were no one's fault except my own. And what you need to understand is that these mistakes will not define you. So I want you to take away these following lessons. Number one, it may feel good to have so many people that know you. And in college, this was the case as well. We knew so many people. And we were quite popular. And it felt good going around college and people saying hello to you. But the reality is that when the shit hits the fan, there will only be a very, very small circle of friends that are really going to be there for you. When things are good and you're having a good time, everyone will be there. You'll have friends in abundance. But when things get tough, that's when you will truly know who your friends are. And when people see you at their worst and still accept you, then you know that these people are your true friends, and understand that you're not perfect and that you will make mistakes. So keep your circle small. Mike Tyson gave a very profound quote, and he said that if you're a friend to everyone, that you're an enemy to yourself. That means that, and what I took away from that was, if you're a friend to everyone, then you are adapting your personality based on who you are dealing with. But that means then you're not true to yourself and what you actually believe in and the type of person you are. If you're a friend to everyone, you're an enemy to yourself. Number 2, have some self-worth. That means that make sure you have a good opinion of yourself. And how do we do that? Keep the promises that you make to yourself. So if you say to yourself, I'm going to study today, make sure you keep that promise. If you say you're going to go training today, keep that promise. Your brain is extremely smart, and subconsciously it tracks, are you respecting yourself or not? So if you make yourself a promise just to yourself and you don't keep it, subconsciously, you're telling yourself that you are not worth your time, or it doesn't matter what you say to yourself, it doesn't mean much. Keep your promises to yourself, because that will increase your self-worth. Number 3, and most importantly, a quote from Tom Hanks: "This too shall pass." This means that in college there'll be some really good times and you'll feel like you're on top of the world. At this time, it's important you stay humble, because it's not going to last forever. Similarly, in college there'll be times where you'll feel like it's the worst time of your life. Like nothing worse will ever happen to me, that which is happening now. Firstly, trust me, it can get worse. But number 2, it won't last forever. So be patient. In good times, be humble. In bad times, stay patient, because this too shall pass. And last but not least, do not let your mistakes define you. Just because you made a bad decision doesn't make you a bad person. But make sure you don't make the same mistake twice. Okay, so these are my lessons that I learned in college, and there are so many more of them, but these are the few that really stood out for me, and I feel that it's going to be beneficial for you if you take heed of the things that I've said. So just a quick reflection. Number 1, think hard about the subjects you choose. Number 2, find the right circle. Remember, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Number 3, remember your purpose. Why have you come to college in the first place? And also remember your purpose in life. Why are you here? Your religion, your religious values, don't forget that. Because sometimes, and I've seen in college, it's so easy to forget about that. Remember your purpose. Number 4, you may think you're young, but start investing early, even if it's a small amount. Consistently, small amounts over time will turn to a substantial amount when you get older. The principle of compounding interest. And last but not least, when you fail, and you will fail, remember that failure does not define you. It's what you do after that shapes who you are, the decisions you make afterwards, and whether you repeat these same mistakes again or not. Learn from it, grow from it, and keep moving forward, because in the end, life isn't about avoiding mistakes, it's about learning from them. That is all for today's episode. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you guys have took something from this. And until next episode, stay blessed.